Over the past month, I've been seeing a lot of Mount Rushmore videos. Not only videos, but also live topics regarding Mount Rushmores for comic books and anime. Even I have talked about it in the past. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a Mount Rushmore video for DC, then a Mount Rushmore video for Marvel, and finally a Mount Rushmore for comic books in general. Of course, this is just my opinion, and my criteria is going to be the character's popularity and success, as well as their impact on the comic book industry and pop culture as a whole. So let's start things off with the DC comic character Mount Rushmore. I think the first one's going to be pretty obvious, as well as the second one, but we got to put Superman up there. I could go into hours on why Superman should be up there, and really I don't need to, because it's obvious that Superman is one of the greatest, if not greatest, superheroes of all time. His popularity, cultural impact on the industry, and every other comic book that comes after him is all because of Superman. The S on his chest is one of the most recognizable symbols in all of history. And Superman's longevity is just a testament on how amazingly well-crafted, written, and preserved this character is. I think it goes without saying that Superman is arguably the greatest and most famous superhero of all time. But there's another character that could also be the greatest and most famous superhero of all time, and that's our number 2 spot, Batman. Similar to Superman, I don't need to talk about why Batman is so great. It should be pretty obvious. Great stories, great writing, one of the most popular and successful and financially successful comic book characters of all time. And similar to Superman, so many other comic book characters wouldn't exist if it wasn't for the Dark Knight. Batman is the perfect yin to Superman's yang, and just like Superman, he is quite possibly the greatest comic book character of all time. Number 3 on the list is also pretty easy. It's going to be Wonder Woman. And anyone that tells you otherwise are lying to you. Wonder Woman's overall cultural impact, not only for the comic books, but pop culture in general, cannot be denied. She is, without a doubt, the greatest and best written female comic book character. But her being the greatest female comic book character is not the only reason why she's on DC's Mount Rushmore. The writing, the mythos, the character, what Wonder Woman represents, that is part of the reasons why she's on the top. Wonder Woman also has had multiple appearances throughout various forms of media and pop culture, whether it be TVs, movies, video games, and everything in between. She is more than just a character, more than just an icon. She's a symbol, and she represents something to everyone. Now, the first 3 slots on the DC Mount Rushmore were pretty obvious. Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, the Trinity, they were going to be up there. However, the 4th spot is a little bit more difficult. There's a lot of people that are gunning for that spot. People like The Flash, Green Lantern, even some villains like the Joker. But for me, I think the 4th spot is undeniable, and that belongs to none other than Nightwing, aka Dick Grayson, the first Robin. If you're confused on why I would give the last spot to Nightwing, if you think about it, it really isn't that confusing. Nightwing's been there since the beginning. Robin actually came out before Wonder Woman. He's been a staple of comic books since the Golden Age. If you all know the comic World's Finest that's been around since the Golden Age, a lot of people associate it with Superman and Batman. But a lot of people forget that Robin is part of that. It's not a duo, it's a trio. And this is a consistent thing that even stands up to modern day. The World's Finest is Batman, Superman, and Dick Grayson. Robin or Nightwing, whatever you want to call him. In terms of evolution and growth, Nightwing is the most developed character in all of comic books. He's gone from being the kid sidekick Robin to developing into his own character Nightwing and even becoming Batman from time to time. He stepped out of the shadow of his mentor. He has become a hero in his own name. Sure, he's a member of the Bat family, but he also stands apart from the Bat family as Nightwing. And Dick Grayson, whether it be Nightwing or as Robin, has had so many appearances in various other medias. He's actually one of the most marketable characters DC has. whether it be starring in Young Justice, starring in the live-action Titans, both Teen Titans and Teen Titans Go, the former being one of the most well-respected comic book adaptations, and the latter being one of the longest-lasting comic book adaptations. He's made appearances in film, as well as television, a staple in video games, whether it be Injustice, Arkham, Gotham Knights, Lego Batman, starring in multiple animated films. And of course, whenever Batman shows up in some kind of fashion, you're sure to see a version of Robin, and that Robin being Dick Grayson, because he's part of the dynamic duo. I think a very important thing that we need to understand is Nightwing is also the inspiration, the template for all other sidekicks and teen superheroes. If it was not for Dick Grayson as Robin, the success that Robin had in the golden age and going forward, we wouldn't have the beautiful plethora of sidekicks and teenage superheroes. Not just the one seen here, but even other characters like, say, Static, Blue Beetle, and of course, over in Marvel, the amazing Spider-Man. There's no denying that Spider-Man, part and part, owes his existence to the success that was Nightwing. So you can debate back and forth on who should get that fourth spot, but I'm very confident and comfortable with my decision to give it to Nightwing. He's one of the most important characters in DC and one of the most important characters in comic books, as are all the people on the DC Mount Rushmore. Do you agree with my picks? What are yours? Comment Stitch Duet. I want to know.